high-definition local channel in St. Lucia. Catch your favorite movies, intriguing documentaries, chart-busting music videos, and the ever-compelling midday and evening edition of the Hot 7 News, all in crisp, high-definition quality. Welcome to what TV should be in this era. Welcome to Hot 7 TV, now on Flow Cable, Channel 117. Spread the word.
Over the weekend, the Trump administration deported hundreds of Venezuelans that it says are gang members, despite a judge's order to turn the flights around. The law at issue dates to 1798. A constitutional clash is likely looming. Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is tracking the story. Good morning, Mary.
George, good morning. Well, we are now seeing a real showdown between this administration and the judicial branch. The White House this morning is celebrating this move, insisting the president is acting within his authority to speed up deportations, despite that directive from a federal judge that these Venezuelan immigrants be returned to the U.S. immediately. This morning, hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members are waking up in prison in El Salvador after the Trump administration rapidly deported them, ignoring a federal judge's directive. This video, shared by El Salvador's president, shows the alleged members of the Tren de Aragua gang arriving in San Salvador Saturday, just hours after a judge ordered planes carrying the men to immediately return to the U.S. Trump over the weekend invoking the Alien Enemies Act, an obscure wartime law from 1798, allowing the government to deport non-citizens with little or no due process. The law last used to play a role in the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II.
I'll simply say they never should have been allowed into our country in the first place. It's our responsibility to protect our families, to keep our streets clean and safe, and that's exactly what the president said he was going to do.
But after some non-citizens represented by the ACLU sued the administration, that federal judge, in an emergency hearing Saturday, ordered any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States, adding this is something that you need to make sure is complied with immediately. The two planes already in the air, sources tell us the administration made the calculated decision to ignore that directive. Sources say the planes carrying the alleged gang members took off during the hearing, the administration eager to get them in the air out of U.S. airspace and over international waters before the judge's ruling. In response to that order to turn the planes around, the president of El Salvador, a Trump ally, posting, "Oopsie, too late."
They needed to be brought back, and the judge absolutely had authority to do that. The United States government, the executive branch, defying a federal court order raises the stakes enormously, not just in this case, but for how we're going to proceed as a constitutional republic.
But the White House this morning insists the administration did not violate the court order and that the president acted within his authority, claiming federal courts have no jurisdiction over the president's conduct of foreign affairs or ability to remove foreign enemies. Now, all of this is coming as a Brown University professor, Dr. Rasha Alawi, a kidney transplant specialist, has been deported despite having a valid work visa and despite a court order temporarily blocking her expulsion. A Lebanese citizen, she was detained last week after returning to the U.S. from visiting family and put on a plane out of the country, again, despite that court order. A hearing in this case is expected later today.
Okay,
George.
Mary, thanks. Let's get more on this from our chief Washington correspondent, John Carl. John, let's start with the deportations to El Salvador. We just heard Mary say the administration knew they were defying the order. So this is likely to head perhaps to the Supreme Court.
Yes, George, as Mary reported, it was we are told, a calculated decision to ignore the judge's directive. The hearing on this is rather extraordinary. The hearing on this had already started before those planes took off. It was before the judge actually issued the order, but it was after it was quite clear the judge was skeptical of the use of this 1798 Alien Enemies Act. By the way, that is an act that has only been used 3 times in all of American history. So the judge was clearly skeptical of it. And then when the order came, the order was clear that even if the planes had taken off, they were to turn around. Let me read you what the judge said. You shall inform your clients of this immediately. Any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States. Now, the White House says that this is an order that was an extraordinary imposition on the executive branch, that the judge simply had no authority to interfere with the president's conduct on national security and foreign affairs matters. But as you also heard Mary point out, this has huge implications for the other court cases working their way through right now on other actions by this president.
Which is why it's likely to go to the Supreme Court. And the Brown University doctor had a valid work visa. So what authority did the administration use to deport her?
Well, her attorneys say she had a valid H-1B visa to be an assistant professor at Brown University. By the way, she's educated in the United States, Washington University, Yale University. We'll find out more on this at today's hearing.
Meantime, the president also claimed overnight that the pardons issued by former President Biden are void for the January 6th committee members, but the pardon power in the Constitution for the president is absolute.
It is, and by the way, there's no indication that President Biden signed these with an auto pen. That's what President Trump is arguing, that this were signed with an auto pen and therefore they're not valid. We don't know that they were signed with an auto pen, but even if they were, it's unclear that that would be an issue. In fact, President Bush back in 2005, the White House did a study on this and determined that even orders signed with an auto pen are valid orders. That proposition's never been tested in court. I guess the big question here, though, George, is does this imply that that President Trump wants to actually prosecute members of the January 6th committee?
John Carl, thanks.
Well, you don't know original Jogo Silly, Ezra the Fun Machine in the building, represented for Hot 7 TV. What's up? Look up at Tech Show. Ay, ay, ay. Look up at Tech Show. They make my head hot.
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.
The people feel so insecure.
Well, good evening to one and all. Good evening to all viewers, listeners tuned in to Like It Is. Welcome to Like It Is for tonight, 17th of March, 2025. We are welcoming you to this next episode of Like It Is. As tonight, as always, we will start with our SLP segment. We have for you, some useful information in store. And of course, we have towards the end of the program, our call-in segment where you, the listeners and viewers, can have your opportunity to call in and tell it like it is. Without further ado, we are going straight into our SLP segment. And in our SLP segment for tonight, before we start, I will give that usual quote from Albert Einstein that is so apt and so pertinent relative to our government in St. Lucia, or what passes as government rather. The quote says, "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted with important matters." A quote by Albert Einstein. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are plunging right into our SLP segment for tonight.
So when will it be? When will we see them guys euphoria? When will they stop to Mama Kai? Practice this sit and blatantly lie. So when will it be? When will we see them guys euphoria? When will this?
Yes, and tonight, in tonight's SLP segment, the segment deals with secrets, lies, and propaganda coming from what passes for government in St. Lucia, the SLP. We are featuring the king liar of the cabinet of St. Lucia, one who gives the prime minister stiff competition for the title of king liar. And that is none other than Richard Frederick El Quapo himself. And so, you would remember on more than one occasion, you've heard Richard Frederick deny that he was expelled from the United Workers' Party. And in his effort to save face and, to show how proud he is claiming that he was never expelled from the United Workers' Party. As opposed to that, he left the United Workers' Party. He decided to leave the United Workers' Party himself. Now, I mean, I can give you clips upon clips showing you Richard Frederick making that claim, but we need not go into that. I'm sure all of you have heard him say so. But what you do not know is the truth is contrary to what he is claiming. But rather than me make that claim, I will solicit one of his chief lieutenants, one of his top supporters, one of his right-hand persons, in the person of Angel Brett, who will describe to you exactly what the situation is in her own words. Clip number 1, please.
The Castries Central delegates went in, and the Castries North delegates, one of the Castries North delegates, tried to show them where the process was not what it's supposed to be. One of the Castries Central delegates also were trying to, they shut them up. They shut them up and literally ran them out of the room. You hear? When the process was, when they finished and they did the process, what they wanted, they voted. 5 constituencies did not vote. 3 were absent and 2, Castries Central and Castries North, abstained. Well, they did not abstain, rather they did not take part in it. So you wouldn't call that abstaining. They didn't take part in it. However, the rest of the constituencies voted. 3 delegates per constituency. Plus, there were trustees. There was the youth member, the youth member, the women's member, the other deputy chairpersons, the deputy political leader. They voted. And the political leader and the chairman of the party, they all voted. At the end of it all, 45 persons voted. 40 persons voted yes to expel Richard Frederick. 2 persons voted no. 2 persons did not write on the ballot, and 1 person wrote on the ballot suspend instead. Okay? So in all, 45 voted, 5 did not support it, and 40.
Okay, so you heard in details from his chief lieutenant exactly what transpired, what took place, what was the process that resulted in Richard Frederick's expulsion. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the lie and you saw the liar. That tonight was our SLP segment.
You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie? Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Why, sir? Can't take it any longer. Can't take it no more. The people feel so insecure. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love more than my live, love more than my live. We gotta make it our business. Our brothers and our sisters, they are being killed. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love more than my live, love more than my live. We gotta make it our business.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our 4 corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Can't take it any longer. Can't take it no more. The people feel so insecure. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love more than my live, love more than my live. We gotta make it our business. Our brothers and our sisters, they are being killed. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love more than my live, love more than my live. We gotta make it our
So, welcome back, viewers and listeners. You're tuned in to Like It Is, and those of you following us on Hot 7 TV, those following on Kiss FM, those on live stream, whether you tuned in through the Caribbean Hot FM app, I say a very special welcome to you. And tonight, I will say that we are going to start off for the first part of this second segment to deal with a matter that I need to deal with. And let me just say this. I've heard time and again some of our viewers, our listeners, our supporters make the claim that we spend too much time on Richard Frederick El Guapo and that we should focus instead on other matters. Of course, we will focus on other matters, but let me just inform you that Richard Frederick has thrived on the fact that he has gone unanswered for very long. And when he comes with his half-truths, his blatant lies and deceit, that they are not challenged. And many of you, on account of that, believe it, and you take it as gospel. We are not going to allow that to continue. We are not going to allow that to happen. And he must know, too, that his tactic of intimidation, of bullying, and threatening is not going to continue to work. And the time for that has passed, and no one is afraid of Richard Frederick, and we are going to take on Richard Frederick. I certainly, for one, is going to take on Richard Frederick. I will not spend all my time on Richard Frederick, but we will set the record straight as necessary, when necessary. And so tonight, I want to reflect on what happened on Thursday night on his show. As always, as usual, there was another attempt using the same old tactics where Richard Frederick brought Christopher Benjamin on his show, better known as Lopo, with the intention of tarnishing my image and my reputation and characterizing me as a kidnapper. That has been tried before. It has not worked. It is being tried again. It will not work. And I will not let it go unanswered, and I will not let it go unchallenged. Because, you know, the host of his show, that is he himself, perhaps wants company and wants to characterize others like himself. And of course, he sought to paint me in the light of being a criminal. And, you know, let me just say this. He made the claim, okay, that people like me believe that it is only those who are, well, let me just put it this way. He once said that only those who are legally convicted of a crime are criminals. I do not subscribe to that. That is one definition of what a criminal is. But he subsequently made an amendment to that statement when making reference to me, and he said that a criminal is not only the perpetrator of a crime, but also the aider and abettor of a crime. Let me play clip number 2 so that you can hear in his own voice the gentleman making that admission. And I will, while that is going on, wonder what comes to your mind when you hear those statements from that particular individual. Clip number 2, please.
A criminal is not only the perpetrator of crime, he's also the aider and the abettor, and can face a similar sentence.
Okay. So, Richard Frederick, better known as El Guapo, brought to his show Christopher Benjamin, better known as Lopo, supposedly to prove his point and to deflect the spotlight from him for his notoriety and unsavory character, and to try to paint me in the light of being a criminal like himself. Now, my question to Richard Frederick is, what did it cost you to get Christopher Benjamin Lopo on your show? Did you have to recruit another Christopher to get that done? Well, let me just say to you, I could match or back raise what you paid Christopher Benjamin, and I don't need any Christopher to do that for me, to get Lopo to come on this show to contradict what he said on your show. But I have no interest in any such thing. I need not do that because I am confident that at all times the truth will prevail over lies and deceit. And so I stay in the realm of truth, and I will speak my truth, and people will be able to discern for themselves what is fact and what is fiction. And so this is a matter that has gone through the courts, what Richard sought to bring Lopo on his show to discuss. And let me inform you that the Lopo never mentioned my name as having any involvement in the matter. In fact, Lopo's first public statement told an entirely different story, just like his statement to the police, until the SLP operatives got to him and paid him to amend his story to try to implicate me, because they felt that there was some political hay to be made, given the fact that the incident involved those who were accused as workers of my farm, and that it was mentioned that the matter was one way or the other brought to my farm. And so they figured they would tie me in and implicate me in the matter. That was totally unsuccessful, okay? Since at the end of the day, Lopo himself, notwithstanding the first statement that he made, went to the police, made a report, the police pressed charges, but I was never mentioned in all of this. So if you don't want to believe me, I will play for you now a clip so that you can hear for yourself what it is the police reported that was the situation. Now, before I allow that clip to be played, I want to tell you that that very clip was played on Richard Frederick's show. But as always, as usual, they manipulate the truth to mislead and deceive. And so he played the clip up to a point to make it say what he wanted to lead you into believing. But I will play the entire clip, or rather almost all of the clips, so that you can get a proper context and you can have the facts as they were said, as they were delivered by the police. Clip number 3, please.
Adverse behavior, untoward behavior on the part of any minister of government or any parliamentary representative. No one was reported in this matter.
Social Justice Minister Lenard Montoute would not confirm or deny whether the farm to which the victim claims he had been taken is the minister's property. He says the matter is before the courts.
If you know any allegations that has been made about me related to any matter like this, please guide me to who it is and the source so that I can take the requisite action. But like I said to you, quite apart from the fact that it's a police matter, my understanding is a matter before the courts, and you would be in a position to know that it would be inappropriate on my part to comment on a matter that is before the courts.
We spoke to the minister on Tuesday morning. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
Thank you. Now, folks, that has not and will not go anywhere, because like I said, the truth will always prevail. And when the purveyors of deceit and lies attempt to mislead you, I will make it my duty to provide you with the facts as they are, to dispel and debunk the blatant lies and deceit that is being perpetrated by those who practice this on a regular basis. And so, if this was an attempt to shut me up, you know, Richard, bringing Lopo on your show, and you and Frigis, you know, two guys who ought to be more knowledgeable about matters pertaining to the law. All the nonsense that you all talk, they're sounding like pure idiots, making it sound as if, well, you know, and he bailed the accusers and so on, as if to suggest posting bail for someone is somehow, somewhere in your minds a criminal activity, a criminal act, and to suggest that posting bail for someone who is accused that I did something wrong. Well, I've said it before and I'm saying it again. Those were two workers of mine who found themselves in that predicament, and it was not for me to determine or judge on their innocence or guilt, but I posted bail for them, yes, and I didn't hide to do so. I'm not denying that I did so. And so when you come, Richard, and wave, you know, documents from the court indicating that I posted bail, I didn't do it secretly, and I don't care that you mentioning that I did it. I'm not denying that I did it. And there is nothing untoward having done that, you know, because it is for the court, like I said, to determine their guilt or innocence. And so, even if you all try to suggest somehow that I did something wrong, it is either a reflection of your ignorance or the level of your deceit that you all were displaying. And that is it. But you know, like I said, all those attempts aimed at shutting me up will not shut me up. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. I received a letter this afternoon. I talk about the attempt at shutting people up. I received this letter this afternoon. Okay? And just to give you an idea, it was a letter from Libra Law Inc., signed by a lawyer by the name of Lydia B. Faisal, legal practitioner for Mr. Richard Frederick. And it says, we demand for retraction and apology for false and defamatory statements made against Mr. Richard Frederick on the 16th of March 2021. Served on me, Lenard Spider Montoute. Richard, hold your breath. Hold your breath while you wait for the apology. Because I am telling you, there is no apology coming from me to you. And let me just let you know tonight that your intimidatory tactics, your threats, none of that, your bullying, none of that is going to work on me. I've told you so before, I'm telling you again, it is not going to work on me. You, Richard, cannot silence me. You, Richard, cannot shut me up. And I'm telling you, Richard, take it from me. See you in court. So now, ladies and gentlemen, they take offense to being called criminal. And El Guapo in particular took great offense. Because after he brought Lopo on his show to attempt to paint me as a criminal, I asked the question, why did he stop short of coming out outrightly and saying that I'm a criminal? But on the contrary, I said that Richard Frederick is a criminal. And that is what they have decided, that it was defamatory and false and all of that, and they're going to take me to court if I don't apologize and so on in 7 days. Well, you can wait 70 years, you will not get one from me. See you in court. So let me tell you what I acknowledge as a criminal. What I consider to be the definition of a criminal. A criminal, folks, ladies and gentlemen, is broadly defined as a person who has engaged in behavior that violates the law and for which they can be punished by the legal system. And this definition does not necessarily say that the person has to be caught. It doesn't necessarily say that the person has to be convicted. All I am saying is that if you engage in criminal behavior, you are a criminal. Full stop, puncto. And so, when I say that Richard is a criminal, I base that on the fact that there's evidence of criminal behavior on his part. Whether or not you have been convicted, Richard, doesn't change the fact that if you behave like a criminal, you must be a criminal. And let me just say that. I ask those of you who have doubts in your mind as to what I'm saying here in terms of my definition, I ask you the question. The perpetrators of crime on the streets, those who kill people, those who steal, those who do all of those things, are you saying to me because they are never caught or because they are not caught, they are not criminals? So, case closed. Now, Richard, I want to place on the screen for my viewers, and I will explain and read what is in front of me for the benefit of my listeners, a matter that came from the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court in the High Court of Justice. And this is a case between Owen Joseph, Ferguson Joseph, Jonathan Joseph, Magdalene Joseph, who are the claimants, that is the people who pressed the case against Richard Frederick, who is the defendant. And that case took place in 2005. Now, I am not going to read the entire judgment for you, as was presented by the judge, Jay Shanks. What I'm going to do is read excerpts for you. And from those excerpts, I want you to make your own judgment based on what the judge said as to whether or not you're not satisfied that there was criminal behavior on the part of the gentleman against whom the claim was made. And I know too that you, Richard, and Albert are going to come and play like y'all are legal luminaries with all the nonsense that y'all talk and make yourself sound like idiots sometimes, despite the fact that y'all are lawyers. Y'all will come and make the point that, okay, that was not a criminal case, it was a civil case. Of course it was a civil case, but you were found liable. And I want the public to hear what the judge had to say, based on the evidence that was presented to him. And let me just say to you as well, the fact that it was not a criminal case is because the individuals in question chose that route because it would be more beneficial to them. I don't think they were interested in you perhaps losing your firearm as a penalty or being sentenced to jail or anything like that. The outcome is what I think they wanted, and it was more beneficial to them. That is, you had to pay a fine because you were found liable. And let's hear about that case in a little more detail. On Sunday, the 8th February 1998, at about 5 p.m., there was an incident at the claimant's property in the course of which the defendant, that is Richard Frederick, fired 2 or 3 rounds from his licensed 9mm revolver. The claimants were seeking damage, including aggravated and exemplary damages for assault and trespass arising out of the incident. So that is the incident I'm talking about, Richard, in case you're wondering. And you should be very familiar with it because you were the one against which the claim was made, and you were the one found liable in that case by the judge. I'm also going to read from page 6, section 4. And it said here, it was quite evident from Mr. Richard, sorry, not Richard, I want to read exactly what is there. It was quite evident from Mr. Frederick's demeanor in the witness box that he is quick to anger and hot-tempered. You're familiar with that character, right? Let's hear what came out of the court again. Page 10, number 9. Although I prefer the claimant's account of events, now the claimant is one of the people, and I think that's Mr. Joseph, who made the claim against Richard Frederick. Although I prefer the claimant's account of events, I should say that even if I had accepted the defendant's account, that is Richard's account, I would nevertheless have concluded that the discharge of a firearm in a residential area within a few feet of Mr. Joseph's head and perhaps 15 feet from Mrs. Joseph and her sons was an unreasonable and excessive reaction to the accusation he made, that is, threw stones at him. So to read it exactly as it is, it was an unreasonable and excessive reaction to the stone throwing. Further, in that same paragraph, as Mr. Frederick must be well aware, a firearm discharged in such circumstances, even into the air, can kill or maim innocent people. You know, a firearm holder is supposed to be a very responsible, level-headed person. The court has told you he's one who is quick to anger and has a temper, and they're telling you the indiscriminate use of the firearm on his part and what could have happened. Page 12. The court, under the section Individual Assessments, section 14, says, his evidence, which I accept, that is Mr. Joseph's evidence, which I accept, was that a round fired in his direction only just missed his head, and that Mr. Frederick almost killed him. Let me read that again. His evidence, that is Mr. Joseph, one of the claimants, okay, his evidence, which I accept, the judge is saying he accepts that evidence, was that a round fired in his direction only just missed his head, and that Mr. Frederick, we're talking about Richard Frederick, El Guapo, almost killed him. I think there can be no doubt that this amounted to an assault which must have caused him shock. The last time I checked, to assault anyone is against the law. And if you engage in behavior that is unlawful, that, sir, makes you a criminal. Punto. I will go further to page 13. And at the top of page 13, section 15, I read, as for aggravated damages, there is no doubt that Mr. Frederick behaved in a thoroughly high-handed and aggressive way, which clearly damaged Mr. Joseph's dignity and pride, not only by trespassing on his property and drawing a firearm and shooting towards him and his family, but also in his final threat that the matter was not over yet. Let me read that again. As for aggravated damages, there is no doubt, that is in the judge's mind, that Mr. Frederick behaved in a thoroughly high-handed and aggressive way, which clearly damaged Mr. Joseph's dignity and pride, not only by trespassing on his property, trespassing is unlawful, by the way, and drawing a firearm and shooting towards him and his family, but also in his final threat that the matter was not over. Typical bully. Lower down in section 17, I will read to you again. As I have said, that is the judge saying so, as I have said, Jonathan was 18 at the time of the incident. He gave evidence that Mr. Frederick pointed at him and he heard a gunshot and immediately ran away, thinking that he was trying to kill him. I accept that evidence and that he was so scared that he did not return to his home until 9:30 that evening. I'm laughing now because, at least we know you're safe, but it's not a laughing matter, this is not a joke. Okay? I also accept his evidence that something grazed a finger on his left hand, which caused a superficial injury and an extreme burning sensation, and I am prepared to infer that the injury was caused by a shot from Mr. Frederick's gun. Richard Schuttbugler, okay? Albeit the bullet only grazed his finger, but he shot at him, but not just shot at him, but shot him. Now, that sounds to me like violent, aggressive, unlawful behavior. If that does not make you a criminal, what does? So, and I'm not trying, Richard, here, the matter went to a civil court, and I'm just reading from the report from the court what the judge had to say. The learned judge who is trained, unlike me, to, come up with those assessments. Page 14, the final page. I just want to read section 18 before I rest Richard's case. Mrs. Joseph's evidence in her statement is that she was fearful when she heard the shots and that she had many sleepless nights after the incident. I accept that evidence and assess her damages for assault. Okay? I know from a little boy, I remember hearing a police officer saying that assault and battery are illegal acts. Now, the judge is clearly indicating here that there was a case of assault. Now, let's go a little further in that same paragraph. I deliberately left out the amount that was paid, but we'll come back to that. It was also clear that her pride and dignity were damaged by Mr. Frederick's behavior, and she gave particularly telling evidence to the effect that she would never forget him spinning his gun and stating that it was not over yet as he left her property. Sounds a lot like Richard, the arrogant, pompous bully who likes to threaten people. Yes, Richard Frederick, El Guapo, this was a matter brought against you that was deliberated on by the court, and this is the report that came out of the court, and based on that, I can say that you have engaged in criminal behavior, which makes you a criminal. And so, folks, ladies and gentlemen, the judge ordered that the defendant, Richard Frederick, pay to the claimants a cost on the prescribed basis for a claim of $39,520. That was the sum of the award to the claimant. I rest your case, Richard. Now, you want to call me a criminal? You want to paint me as a criminal when the records are replete with allegations and accusations about you coming from the very people with whom you sit in cabinet. I have read on this program excerpts from the impacts report, Richard, that clearly implicates you in criminal activity. Okay? That, of course, has not been tried by a court. God knows why. But sufficient was said there that would warrant an investigation, that would require that you be called in for questioning and perhaps charges be proffered against you. You want to call me a criminal? Richard, let me jog your memory. And let me jog the memories of my viewers and listeners before I move on to more important, more interesting matters. I would like at this juncture to play another clip. I think that'll be clip number 5. Could you play for me clip number 5, please? Frederick, okay, in action, assaulting a police officer, kicking his vehicle, which is his property. And if that is not criminal behavior, tell me what is. You know, if that, making threats, behaving in a violent and aggressive manner, if that is not criminal behavior, tell me what is. And this is a man who wants to come and talk about Marigo. Well, of course, I found myself in an altercation with the proprietor of a bar at Marigo who walked up to me in my face and so on, and I used some expletives. Not like you, Richard, who used expletives in Parliament. And, okay, it was regrettable that, given the position I held then, that I would have been seen by the public in that light. And I do apologize to the public, not that I have any apologies to make for taking a stand on that idiot at the time who thought he could have confronted me and threatened me in the manner that he did, which I will never tolerate from anybody. Not from him, not from you, Richard. I will not tolerate any threats or anyone confronting me in that manner. But look at you. Look at Richard Frederick. And that is a police officer is doing that too. A police officer. So his behavior there is very consistent with his bullying, threatening, pompous, arrogant attitude. And that is what you call behavior that is consistent with that of a criminal. Okay? Arrogant and very violent. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, I am showing this to show you and to prove to you that I am not just arbitrarily making comments, making statements, or casting aspersions or making allegations. I've heard what Richard Frederick's colleagues have said about him, okay? And I've read what is said about him in the impacts report. And these are damning allegations about an individual. And to think that Philip J. Pierre would take that, handpick that individual and put him in our cabinet in this country, that says a lot about the kind of government we have. That says a lot of the character of the Prime Minister who is running this country at this time. And ladies and gentlemen, to finally rest my case, I want to show you one more clip of that violent and aggressive behavior of an individual who sits in our cabinet and our parliament. Behavior that can only be described as unlawful, which makes the individual a criminal. Let's see clip number 6, please.
Don't touch me! What happened there? Richard, don't push me! Don't try it! Don't try it!
Despite being questioned several times, the individual identified as an officer declined to explain his presence on the site.
I am willing to work with you now, but what is your legitimacy here?
You, as an ex-police officer, asking me these kind of questions.
No, you're telling me you're here?
You're an ex-police officer. You are my commanding officer.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just say this before we go for a break. Richard, when you talk about archives, you're not the only one with archives. And if you want to carry on, let's get it on. Like I said, see you in court. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll come to the next segment, during which I will open the lines for our callers to make their contribution, and there will be a few other matters that I will touch on, some information from the United Workers' Party. But before we close, let me just say to you that our telephone number is 4500-777. That's our landline. And you can also WhatsApp messages or make a call on WhatsApp on 284-3499. I ask you to please stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned to Like It Is.
Can't take it any longer. Can't take it no more. The people feel so insecure. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta make it our business. Our brothers and our sisters, they are being killed. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta make it our
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our four corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Mourning a loss? Hot 7 TV wants to help you celebrate the beautiful memory of your loved one with In Loving Memory, Celebrating Lives. Whether it's a birthday, a wedding anniversary, or some memorable occasion, or the anniversary of the passing of the dearly departed, Hot 7 TV will create a moving video tribute of that special person, showing how much he or she meant to you. Treasured memories, unforgettable moments. Share them with the world and repeat the airing as often as you'd like. Help keep your loved one's memory alive forever in the minds and hearts of all who care. In Loving Memory, Celebrating Lives. Contact us at telephone number 452-6040 or email us at inlovingmemory@caribbeanhottv.com.
Now you can take Hot FM, Kiss FM, and Hot 7 TV with you wherever you go. Whether you're in St. Lucia or exploring our four corners of the globe. Our record-breaking app has already been downloaded over 500,000 times on Google Play and the Apple App Store. To bring you the best in HD sound, we've relaunched a brand new app. Get it for free in the App Store by simply searching Caribbean Hot FM HD. Listen to us in real time, anywhere, any place, anytime. We've added so many cool new features, like our live in-studio option, where you can see your favorite announcers and DJs at work. So download the app today. It's free. Spread the news. St. Lucia is now in HD around the world on the Hot FM app. Don't miss out. Join the fun and stay connected.
Can't take it any longer. Can't take it no more. The people feel so insecure. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta make it our business. Our brothers and our sisters, they are being killed. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta.
Yes, folks, welcome to Like It Is, where we tell it like it is. We're not being silenced. We're not being intimidated. You can't shut us up. The truth is the truth. The truth must come out. The truth must be brought to light. The truth must prevail. This is what happens here on Like It Is. Unadulterated truth, not watered down, not sugar-coated. We're just telling it like it is. So, welcome back to you. And in this segment, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to open the line shortly. But before we do, I just want to, go into some of the plans of the United Workers' Party in terms of what they intend to do upon assuming government after the next general election. And one of the plans that was ratified at the last convention, I understand that there were 13 policies or plans rather that were put on the table and ratified by the convention. One of them is extending St. Lucian passport's validity to 10 years. So right now your passport is only valid for 5 years. So when the UWP government extends your passport to 10 years, it will be reducing costs and ensuring greater convenience to you, the citizens. Talking about passports, there's a lot to be said now about visas, and that determines the value of your passport. With a St. Lucian passport, we enjoyed a lot of privileges in the recent past, but that is in jeopardy now. But that's a matter that we have to discuss separately. And they will try to come with all their propaganda and their lies and to try to make you believe that somehow, some way, the United Workers' Party that is in opposition now is responsible for their shortcomings. I also want to look at the modernization of castries rather, and the support for vendors. The UWP is committed to revitalizing castries by creating dedicated spaces for vendors and ensuring a balanced, fair approach to city development that supports both economic growth and the needs of vendors. Today, with the present parliamentary representative of castries, like Rush would say, the misrepresentative of castries, Richard Frederick El Quapo, he has been kicking our vendors around, intimidating them, tormenting them, abusing them, and treating them very badly, in some cases denying them of making a living out of what they do, that is vending, by chasing them out of their locations, not providing replacement opportunities for some of them, building new facilities, plywood facilities, mind you, in most cases, and charging them exorbitant costs and so on. All of this will come to an end because our development will not be ad hoc ghettoization of castries. What it will be proper planning with aesthetics that will enhance the city, make it look like a city, and at the same time facilitate trade on the part of the ordinary man and woman in castries who ply their trade by vending. So that is another area that the United Workers' Party endorsed and will be looking at. I also want to look at the area of affordable housing for St. Lucians, and that is something that is required, and I applaud that move because the UWP will launch a national affordable housing scheme utilizing Crown lands, and of course that will make things much cheaper because lands are very expensive, especially depending on where you are in the country. Okay, and in collaboration with private developers as well to provide affordable homes with accessible financing options for young people and low-income families. Now I'm going through this because let it not be said that the UWP is not putting forward any plans as to what exactly they are going to do after they have won the next general election. UWP has always been a party with a plan. UWP has always been a party with a vision. UWP has always been a party that executes and provides progress and development for this country. So affordable housing for St. Lucians is something we can look forward to under a new United Workers' Party regime under the Prime Ministership of Alan Michael Chasney. Now that one, that was, I remember that was mentioned prior to the last general election. Unfortunately, the UWP did not win, and so this idea was abandoned, but we will bring it back, we will restore it. We will reinstate it rather. The restoring of the ebooks program in schools. Now let me just explain this quickly. The UWP will reinstate the ebook program, ensuring that students have access to digital devices and a strong internet connectivity with active involvement from educators, parents, and students to create a sustainable digital learning environment. Now let me just go a little further based on what I personally know about that program, because I was in cabinet when it was being discussed and I was part of the campaign last election when it was being announced, albeit it was being spearheaded by Dr. Gail Rico. But I know enough about it, and let me talk about the things I really liked about it. Yes, what is stated here is important. to provide access to digital devices and strong internet connectivity with active involvement from educators, parents, and students to create a sustainable digital learning environment. What was not mentioned here is that with the e-books, government would be paying a license so that the textbooks that the students use in school today would be downloaded on that e-book. And so parents would not have to go through the expense of having to buy textbooks for their children. Now, I remember one year, when my wife was not on the island and I had the responsibility of seeing about textbooks for my daughter, who was then in secondary school. I have to tell you, I bawled when I look at the prices of books. There were some textbooks that were over $100 for one. Now, that was just for one child. There are parents with several children attending school. Can you imagine, especially the poorer parents, especially the single parents, especially the unemployed parents, can you imagine that burden of having to buy textbooks, in some cases for more than one child at a time? And not only that too, a little favorite little thing of mine, given my background in physical therapy and all of that, I see some young kids, some little kids sometimes, struggling with some big backpacks on their backs with textbooks bigger than Bibles, and they're going through the strain and the pain, and I can only imagine what it does to their spine and so on. Now, you may consider that to be a minor point, but that's a point for me. So all of those benefits would accrue to the students and the parents when the United Workers' Party reinstate the e-book program. And that is something, though I don't have children in school anymore, that we can look forward to, and I applaud highly. And I'm not going to go through all of the 13 areas. I'm just going to highlight a few that, everybody have their preferences. Now, I may leave out one or two that may resonate with you, but I just chose one or two that, I particularly liked. And in subsequent programs, I will go through the others as well. Another thing that a United Workers' Party government upon assuming office will do after the next general election is introducing unemployment benefits through NIC. Now, the UWP will expand the National Insurance Corporation, NIC, to introduce unemployment benefits, providing workers with essential financial support during periods of job loss. So during the time, if you lose your job, during the time that you have lost your job until you find another job, you will be, provided with some support in the form of unemployment benefits. That, I think, is a move that is, worthwhile, and we can applaud. Now, I hope this last one does not, no, this is not my last one. I will leave this for last. The National Health Insurance Coverage for All. That one, I particularly like this one, because whether you're big, small, young, or old, we all fall sick from time to time. We all are susceptible to illnesses, and we want to know that we have health coverage irrespective of our station in life, whether we're rich, poor, or indigent. Our UWP government will continue the work started in 2021 by implementing a national health insurance, NHI, a system to ensure that every St. Lucian has access to quality and affordable health care. And what I like about it most is that you get coverage. It was proposed that you'll get coverage up to $75,000. I guess they will have to review that for the upcoming term, and we're hoping that you'll get even more coverage from that. For the young people, there is also something. The United Workers' Party will introduce a national youth volunteer program to teach young people social responsibility, leadership, and conflict resolution, giving them the opportunity to volunteer in various charities and gain real-world experience. So there is something in there for everyone. And when I talk about everyone, I'm talking about seniors as well, not just youth, not just middle-age. For the seniors, there will be the eliminating of property tax for seniors in this country. A UWP government will remove property tax for homeowners aged 65 and older, ensuring financial relief for retirees and promoting aging with dignity. So I think these are all commendable plans that the United Workers Party has for the people of St. Lucia, and I look forward to the assumption of office of a new United Workers' Party government for the implementation of all of those plans. There are other plans, like I said, there were 13 of them You know, and of course, that's not all. There are others, and as they come to hand, I will be highlighting them. I will be talking on the others in subsequent programs. But for tonight, I am eager to open the line, you know, so that my callers can get an opportunity, my callers and viewers, my viewers and listeners can get an opportunity to call in on Like It Is, where you get an opportunity to tell it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. So right now, I will ask my technicians to open the lines to you, and I gave you, the lines are open, so you may proceed in making your calls, calling the program so that you can tell it like it is. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you're watching us on television or on radio, you have an opportunity right now to tell it like it is. And for your benefit, I was just looking for my telephone numbers, which I cannot commit to memory as yet. It is the landline 4500777, and our WhatsApp number is 285-3499. Please go ahead, make your calls. That is your opportunity to tell it like it is. Do you have any callers as yet? We do have a caller. Caller, welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
I'm telling it like it is. Good evening, Mr. Montoute. How are you doing?
Do you have a caller on? I'm not hearing. Okay. Yes, my headphone is back on.
Good evening, Mr. Montoute. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, caller. I'm hearing you.
Okay, Mr. Montoute, good program as usual. You're on point. And I like the fact that the United Workers' Party is presenting some of its plans when it is elected and forms the next government. What I'm impressed with, one of the plans, the 13 plans that I like, which stands out for me, is the unemployment benefits. You know, a lot of people, sometimes through no fault of theirs, they lose their job, and they want some kind of financial assistance. In the hope that, okay, very soon they will get a job. So I like that plan, and I'm just saying to solutions. That's one good reason why, come the next general elections, you should elect the United Workers' Party. I just want to say quick.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to speak about this proposed travel ban that the U.S. that St. Lucia have found itself in, and we're on the orange list. And the United States government gave St. Lucia 60 days to the St. Lucia government, the Labour Party government, 60 days to rectify this. This is scary. And you know why? I want St. Lucians to understand the consequences and the repercussions when it comes to that travel ban. It means that if the Labour Party does not put its act together and does not rectify whatever grievances that the United States government wants to satisfy, it means that every St. Lucian stands a chance of losing their visa. It means that our corresponding banking will get affected. It means that our tourism product, our tourism industry will be affected. That is scary.
You know, whenever we sound the alarm, they tell you either we are prophets of doom or we are hoping and praying for the worst. That's not the case. We want the best for St. Lucia. We all are St. Lucians. We all are going to be affected. What we are saying is that you are the government of the day. You know, spring into action. Take heed of what is happening around you, especially on the international scene. And while you may not have total control of what is being done, take action early to mitigate the consequences and effects of what is looming. Because you have early warning. Well, when I say early warning, you have advance warning. So let us know as a people. Give us the comfort. Tell us what it is you are doing about the situation and how you intend to handle the situation. After all, you are the government.
Exactly, and you know what is sad? Philip Martinez warned the Labour Party government that, look, your CIP is not being carried above board. There are corrupt practices that he found in regards to our CIP program. You have a so-called CEO, McCloud Emmanuel, secretly going to Washington, D.C. to meet with Mr. Martinez and his attorneys, not informing his own prime minister, and giving evidence to Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez got documents upon documents, bank transactions, bank statements, showing evidence that our CIP program is festered with corruption, and that he told the Labour Party government, look here, I found this thing, I want you to come up to Washington DC to see the evidence. What did the Labour Party do? And its hacks, its operatives. They ridiculed the man, they insulted him, called him a fraudster. He won them. Meanwhile, our political leader, the leader of the opposition, took the opportunity, he saw the evidence, came back to St. Lucia, warned the Labour Party again that, look here, there are problems, serious corruptive activities or corruption within our CIP program. You guys have to fix it. Up to a day like today, we cannot get the second report from the audited report from our CIP. We do not know where the money is. We're hearing $6 billion has vanished. No accounting from Onesine, who is the Minister of Investment, and this government continues on its merry way and its arrogance. Now look at what's happening. The chickens have come to roost. The United Workers and the United States government is not happy, and they're threatening. There's a proposal that will go to Congress very soon with a travel ban. And if we do not satisfy the queries or the questions by the United States government within 60 days, solutions, all solutions, whether you're red or yellow, stand a chance of losing your U.S. visa.
Yes.
This is scary.
Kola, I don't want to cut you short, but I want to give as many callers an opportunity as possible. So I would like to ask you callers, please make your contribution. I welcome it, but let's try to keep it a little short so that we can get as many callers as possible. But thank you very much for your insightful contribution, caller. And I will not comment too much on this matter. All I will say is that I await a response from our government. We have heard responses from other prime ministers in the region. Given the fact that they have gotten the heads up on that situation, let us hear what it is our government is saying and what it is our government plans to do. Do we have another caller? Yes, we have another caller online. Caller, good evening. Welcome to Like It Is. Please go ahead, make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yes, good night, Mr. Montoute.
Good night, sir.
Very good show. You should know that voice. I'm not mentioning my name yet, but you should know the voice.
If you don't mention your name, I won't mention it.
Okay, but the fact is, you know who's there. You know he's there. This man has no shame, the El Guapo, no shame. And I watching the man show, and you have an ex-police next to him. And that ex-police, I said, he just like him.
An ex-police like him and a lawyer like him.
Exactly doing.
Yeah.
And a lawyer like him. These people have no knowledge of what's happening in St. Lucia. You're backing this man there? Come on, man. The Prime Minister have no shame. It's time for St. Lucian to take the streets, man. High time. We finish, Everything now, they're saying Chasney. Chasney go and talk to Trump. Chasney have to rescue this country. A lot of stupid people downtown Chasney said, oh, the boss. I watched that clip, man. What a shame to have a man like that in St. Lucia cabinet internationally, the globe watching that, and you'll have this one there. What some St. Lucians, man? Come on, St. Lucians. Break out, man. Break out. If we have to do like they do in 79, I will not say break that.
I hope all St. Lucians see it your way, and that come the next general election, they do the right thing and remove this current government and place a government that can make a difference and bring St. Lucia forward.
Honestly speaking,
yes.
That is not nice, man, for St. Lucian. We go down the drain. Sir John put St. Lucia on a level. Barbados was scared of us. When you have Barbados, St. Lucian, Sir John had us. Right? Everywhere, watching us like dogs.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Thank you for your contribution. Before I take the next call, let me just read a quick WhatsApp message. Mr. Montoute, you need to come to Miku in Volet, Miku, to see our roads. My yard is like a river because there's no drains, so all the water comes down from my driveway. Oh boy, a call just came through there and blocked that message before I completed it. I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to Like It Is. Good evening. Go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is. Yes, good evening.
Spider, I want to send a message to Ernest Hilaire and Philippe Pierre and tell them the T-boutique politics that they are playing in St. Lucia. Right now, it's gone international. Because they thought it would have been small politics they would continue to play on the heads of the people.
Don't be fooled,
So right now,
they're listening to like it is, so they're hearing you.
So right now, the T-boutique politics they were playing to try and fool our population, which they know that it's about 95% ignorance. Right now, it hit international level, and it's hitting every single citizen of this country, including themselves. Including themselves. I am calling on St. Lucians to stand up, because what is going on there with these travel bans and visa restriction? It's not based on political colors. It's not UWP that will be banned from traveling to the US. It's not SLP only that will be banned from traveling to the US. It's a national thing. So right now, that is a crisis on our country. And we need to stand up as a people, as a nation, put politics aside, because all of us are going to be affected or will be affected by the nonsense that Philippe Joseph Pierre allowed Ernest Hilaire to put our country through in less than 3 years of being in politics. This man is weak, Spider. Philippe Pierre is a weak prime minister, and we need to get him out of our parliament before it's really too late. And I am saying like it's late already. But if we don't get this thing done, that will be it for St. Lucia.
Color, there's nothing new, We have a clueless prime minister who does not know the difference between his behind and his elbow. And so, you talk about national security, he's not a police. You tell him that there are advisories from a foreign country, he does not know. So, it is not surprising, it's nothing new. I want to thank you for your call, caller. And please continue to listen to Like It Is, and please continue to make your contribution. I would like to go back to the message that I was reading a while ago. It says that there's no drains, so all the water comes down my driveway. I sent a video to the rep, and he keeps on giving me stories on stories. Please come after Gale fixed 95% of all the roads in Mico. So that is a complaint about roads. That's another issue with infrastructure in this country. Our roads are in the most deplorable condition that we have seen in a very long time. Not to mention there's a lack of water and so on. Do you have someone on the line? Oh, yes. I have a special caller right now, ladies and gentlemen. And caller, I will identify you. You're a public figure, so you'll forgive me for doing that. I have Rush Clark, the UWP.
Hi. Hi, good day, Mr. Montoute. Pleasure. Once again, wonderful and a very much of an informative show. Congrats on this.
Yes.
You hear me? Okay. Good day, Mr. Montoute. I would just like to make a small contribution as it pertains to our vendors and the struggles that right now we are facing at the Castries market. And once again, these same vendors that our misrepresentative just doesn't seem to show any level of consideration for. I said it earlier today on Newspin, but I would take the opportunity and say it again in your show. The vendors, these same vendors up till, I believe it was Sunday, were informed and addressed by the mayor to vacate their premises to allow the commencement of works to be done by the DHS personnel. These same vendors were told earlier that upon the completion of the anchorage, they would have been given priority as tenants for affordable rental rates. 4 years later, our entrepreneurs are still suffering the consequences of this administration. After spending so much time meeting so many vendors today, we found out that the rates for these units have skyrocketed. You have rates for some of these units ranging from $850 for a mere 54 square feet to $3,800 for 300 square feet. At this point, our vendors are being pushed out. No level of consideration is being placed for them.
That's what you call
and these are the same vendors.
You know?
That is absolute exploitation, and these are the same vendors that was earlier indicated as no one would touch my vendors by our misrepresentative. Yet still we can see once again he's the one that is finding himself violating them. I wanted to seriously make this contribution here once again.
Yes, thank you very much, Rush, for your contribution. And I rather suspect Rush had something to do with pushing that idea of modernizing castries and supporting the vendors. I think I have another caller on the line, but do we? Okay, we lost that caller. But let me just read quickly. Good night, my brother Spider. As a concerned parent, I want to ask the Minister of Sports, what is the rationale behind having island champs when parents have to go support the kids at a price of $25 and $30 entry fee? Since when it has become a money-making event? When this Flabo government get back into power, we would like this reviewed. There are quite a few youngsters in the UWP lineup I know who have keen interest in youth and sports matters. That is for you to take into consideration. And here's a complaint by a parent about this. But they will try to extort money from you now because they have taken the money that was supposed to go towards the development of youth and sports for our children, took a $80 million loan, and now they have to pay back $80,000 a month, which is just about what the National Lottery is making a month. So all of the money that the National Lottery is making monthly goes to the payment of that loan. So there's no money left for programs for the youth. So we have why seniors over 65 alone. Shouldn't it be for all retirees? People in the teaching and public service retire from age 55. This should be inclusive. Now, caller, let me just tell you something. I cannot give you a definitive answer now, but I'm saying that is a significant point that you have raised. If you're dealing with retirees, I will bring it to the attention of the United Workers' Party for them to review that stipulation of the age 65 and to consider retirees, period. So I'm not giving you any guarantees, but what I can assure you is that I will bring it to the attention of the party. That is a concern from one of our viewers and listeners. So do we have any calls on the line? Okay, not yet. And so, let me see, yes, we don't have any other WhatsApp message. So I was just saying that, when you squander the future of the youth like has been done, and we all know the reason why that move was made, that $80 million, that exorbitant amount of money for the national lotteries to spend for, according to them, upgrade of facilities for World Cup cricket. I have another message here I would like to read. I am an SLP supporter, but I am very disappointed with the level of politics Mr. RF has brought to the Labour Party. What made me sad again is the refusing to shake the hands of the PM at the church service. And that person is talking about Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, who refused to shake the political leader of the United Workers' Party, leader of the opposition hand. That is the kind of hate politics that we have in the St. Lucia Labour Party now. And we've been seeing it exemplified by Richard Frederick and the Prime Minister who handpicked Richard Frederick. I think I have a caller. Caller, welcome to Like It Is. Good evening to you. Please go ahead and make your contribution. Tell it like it is.
Yeah, tell it like it is. Mr. Spider, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, sir. I hope you're doing fine as well.
I'm rolling on.
Go ahead.
Okay, so far I see Richard Frederick is doing a very lovely job, so I don't know if what you all have going on is not so bad. Okay? And basically...
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah. Basically, I just need you all to get along for the country's sake. It will be very, very, very wise.
Okay.
Okay?
All right then.
All right then. So
Yes.
have a nice
Okay. And that previous message that I read, the caller indicated that they were talking about the property tax that I read about that the UWP will be implementing for retirees starting from age 65. Okay, so we have a few more minutes left, so I want to get a few more calls. And so do we have any callers on the line right now? No. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you know, I am very interested in a few things. Now, I remember the Labour Party spreading some propaganda about the distress fund. And that is a fund that they put in place to assist fire victims, okay? Now, they would have probably, what, $80,000 or $800,000, I think it was, that they had in that fund. And, you know, when you're talking about repairing homes and so on, that doesn't go very far. But the United Workers' Party, yes, they disbanded the distress fund, but they set up what we call a contingency fund. And in that contingency fund was millions of dollars. And not only did people in distress get assistance for loss of property through fire, but there were also assistance being given to people who needed health care, who needed assistance, you know, for overseas treatment. I think I have another UWP candidate on the line. Hello, good evening, caller.
Hi, Spider. This is Dominic Frede. How are you?
Okay, welcome to Like It Is. I'm fine. I hope you're doing fine too. Welcome to Like It Is. Please.
Amazing show. Amazing show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to congratulate you. But you know, all the videos you showed on Richard Frederick and all the information that you shared with us tonight, it begs one sad question, and that is, why is the Prime Minister so reckless with the safety and the future of this country that he would embrace Richard Frederick in the manner that he has? Does Richard Frederick have something on the Prime Minister, Spider?
Well,
has he blackmailed the Prime Minister in any way? There are a number of serious questions that have emerged from this scenario. I mean, when you think of the fact that Philip J. Pierre had a front row seat and he saw how his ex-boss, Kenny Anthony, the leader of the Labour Party that he succeeded, how he would have dealt with Philip J. Pierre, with Richard Frederick. Philip was the leader, the deputy leader of the St. Lucia Labour Party and the deputy prime minister.
And he was
So
he was part of the brigade attacking Richard and highlighting all of Richard's sins and his woes, you know, telling us who the character is and all of that. He was part of it, you know. So
that is correct. That is correct. But I am sure, Spider, that in the immediate aftermath of the general elections that has just happened, where the Labour Party would have won 15 seats, that Philip J. Pierre would have known that Kenny Anthony would have had a certain level of misgivings about putting Richard Frederick in the cabinet. But what happened then, Spider, is that he chose instead to dump Kenny Anthony for Richard Frederick.
I choose Richard Frederick over him.
So he has betrayed Kenny Anthony, and everything that they have worked together on while they were in opposition in the period of 2007 to 2011, and he has betrayed all of that and embraced Richard Frederick. Spider, I almost fell off my chair when I saw the Prime Minister saying to the crowd at a meeting in Ancillary, the last Labour Party public meeting, that he was proud to have Richard Frederick in the cabinet.
Says a lot about him, you know. But yeah, I just have one more minute left, Dominic. It's a pity you called in so late.
Okay, so I'm sorry,
but it was nice to have
but
it was nice to have you. have you on, and we can discuss all of those things further. And I'm hoping St. Lucians are taking note and judging people by their character and the kind of integrity that they demonstrate. I want to read a quick message before we end. Last night, I heard my former MP, Herod Stanislas, stating that a contract to be executed in Soufrière has been awarded to a female individual who isn't from Soufrière. But I would like to let St. Lucians know that there is so much corruption and systemic victimization taking place in this town. It is only a matter of time before we start to truly expose Granny, that is Hippolyte the Rep, for the black-hearted evil politician which she truly is. I hope that beach vendors and water taxi operators who descended on St. Isidore's Hall in droves to vote her in are aware of what she is presently trying to do to them at the request of some of the hotels. This is just the beginning. Watch this space. And this person was just talking about the situation in Soufrière. So, throughout the country, one is not different to the other. And I mean, I heard Herod Stanislas, he had some family matters to attend to, so he was off the scene for a little while, returned with dynamite last night at the Flambeau Live, and, we heard what he had to say. And we, can see that Herod, as part of the team that is being presented to St. Lucia, is one of the leaders with a proven track record that is ready to lead again. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's unfortunate that we have run out of time, have come to the end of the program. I want to thank all of you who were watching and listening, and I want to particularly thank those of you who called in to the program tonight to have your say. This was another episode of Like It Is. Please tune in next Monday from 8 o'clock, where we'll have another in the series, Like It Is. And tomorrow, you can tune in. We will most likely be having some press briefing taking place tomorrow. We will be having a press briefing taking place tomorrow at 10. On Thursday, you can join us on Meet the Opposition on Rev Up and also broadcast on live stream. And of course, on Sunday, I think it is the turn of Grosile, where we'll be having a community meeting in the community of Grand Riviere. So I want to thank all of you, and please join us again, like I said, next Monday for another in the program Like It Is. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Can't take it any longer. Can't take it no more. The people feel so insecure. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta make it our business. Our brothers and our sisters, they are being killed. We gotta tell it like it is, tell it like it is. We don't love how them a live, love how them a live. We gotta make it our
The opinions expressed on this TV program by the hosts, guests, and callers are solely their opinions and responsibility. They do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of Hot 7 TV or its affiliates.